Welcome back to Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy. We're gonna get straight into our explosive penny stock watch list. First stock we're looking at here is HMBL on the 30-minute time frame. So markets are still open, but HMBL is down currently 4.25%, and we are still trading in our wedge. And so with Humble, we can't really say where this one wants to go until about April 13th. At that point, we will get a better sense of direction. As of right now, you guys can see we are still trading within our wedge. However, we are below our 50 SMA, so that does not look the best. But if we continue to just trade in this channel, we get some good news. We could see some movement here. Just remember, once we conclude these type of patterns, we may move to the upside or to the downside. It's either way. And so as a trader, you should know where and when to have stop losses set. If you are in it for the short term, I am a long-term investor in Humble, so I don't really care what happens with the price in the short term. If the price does go lower, I will add more to my position. If we go higher, that is great too. Either way, it doesn't make a difference because most people who are in Humble, in my opinion, are going to be long-term investors into this company, not traders. And so overall, we shouldn't really be stressing about these short-term movements. However, there is still nothing really to worry about because we are still trading in our wedge. Next stock of the day, we're looking at WDLF on the 30-minute time frame. So currently we are down almost 6%. And so this traded absolutely perfectly for our wedge. You guys know we've been following this wedge for a while. We closed yesterday literally right on our wedge, right where both of these lines connected, which was crazy to think about how accurate this price action has been. And so for today, we were looking for some price action upwards. However, market opened, we had a lot of selling come out, and then we just kind of traded sideways. One thing to mention here on the daily is we've had a lot more selling than buying just in general. So since we had this crazy run up in February, everything followed has been extremely red. We have barely any green days in here, and I honestly don't remember the last time we had 2 or 3 consecutive green days in WDLF. So we've already seen a ton of selling. On a technical basis, our MACD looks bearish right here. We got rejected by our signal line, and now we are trending negative. So this right here does not look good. And I was also following our RSI on this uptrend, which we also are below now. And so even though today is a Friday, that Monday is going to be the nail in the coffin, or it's going to be our life vest, because if we have a significant down day on Monday, this whole pattern will break to the downside. However, if we do get a nice run up on Monday, this might have just been a bear trap. And so overall, we will see exactly what happens next week with Social Life Network. Right now, we are hovering right here at 0.017. And so if we continue this downward trend, we may want to look for some stop losses here. Otherwise, we could start to see lower lows here, and we could see tests of around 0.012 to about less than a penny. And so that is worst case scenario on WDLF. If we do get to those prices, I will be there to buy up more shares. So this is not a type of company where because it's going down, you sell it. This is a company, if it goes down, you buy up on the cheap. And I know there's a big backing of Social Life Network where if you're not going to buy the shares cheap, somebody else will. And so this is a company you just got to hold out. Don't really stress the short-term movements. The technical basis looked absolutely promising, and right now it doesn't look like it's in our favor just yet. Next stock of the day, we're looking at IGEN on the daily time frame. I honestly don't think I've experienced any green days in IGEN since I've been in it. We're down about 6.36% here, and now we are just flirting here with our 100-day SMA and our 200-day SMA. And so I look forward to see what happens here with IGEN in the short term. I don't think we will break below our 200-day SMA. If we do, I will be there to buy up, but otherwise I don't think we'll close anytime below a penny. If we do again, that is a great buying opportunity, but right now the technicals don't look good at all. We have a negative MACD that has no signs yet of crossing over, looks very parallel to me, and our RSI is kind of favoring a downside push. And so overall right now with IGEN, we are just kind of bleeding to the downside. No real sign of moving up just yet. Next stock of the day, looking at SEGI on the daily time frame. So currently up about 5%, and so this stock has also been taking a beating. And so right now we just had a sympathy bounce here about 5%. You can see we had a day where we tested our 100-day SMA, but we could not get back up there. So right now SEGI is trying very hard to get above this 100-day SMA, but we are failing. If we look at our MACD, still no signs of a crossover yet. We got rejected here, which is extremely bearish, and so everything right now again with SEGI does not show any promising setups in the short term, so we should still be patiently waiting for SEGI until we get a distinctive crossover with our MACD and we see some more bullish momentum. Next stock of the day, we're looking at MJNA on the daily time frame, and so again we did anticipate MJNA to kind of trade in this upper little wedge right here, and so at this point on April 20th I think we will start to get a better move, and in my opinion that move will be to the upside. If we look at our MACD did cross over right here, however we are potentially going to cross down again, so we would love to see a bounce off this signal line right here. If we get that bounce, we will have our trajectory move upwards, and that would also coincide with a very nice run up at these levels. And so we're watching MJNA very closely. This is one of those plays that I have for the long term that you are getting at a very nice valuation right now. So overall, even if you just look at the buying and selling, we had extraordinary buying here. You had a wave of selling, but after this point we really have just been stagnated. We have absolutely no volume right now in the stock, and so when you have no volume like this, that does signal a bottom in the short term. And so I am expecting the same thing. If we get any sort of good news, we should start to see the spike up, but right now we are down today 3.8% on MJNA. Next stock of the day, we're looking at ALYI on the daily time frame. So up about 3% here, and again we are still above a key level of support. And so if you are watching ALYI, this is the level where you would have your stop loss set. If you break this level, I would cut my losses and then look for a re-entry. As of right now, we are still trading above. Everything still looks good, even though we are below our 50 SMA. We did get rejected a couple times here, so that doesn't look the best, but we still keep fighting our way up. And so if we look at our MACD is negative, but it does look like we could potentially curl up in the next couple trading sessions if we see some green days. Overall right now, still not too promising of a setup because a lot of stocks are taking a beating right now as the markets are correcting. Next stock of the day, we're looking at HYSR on the daily time frame. So again, we're only down about 3% here, trading below our 100-day SMA, still in no man's land with HYSR. However, our MACD actually looks quite bullish. This might have been the bottom right here on HYSR in the short term, because right now it does look like we are parallel with our signal line and we are slowly creeping up to a positive MACD. However, that is not compelling enough for me to get into HYSR. I want to see the MACD actually get positive before opening a position here, but right now we are looking like we are on that path to get there. Next stock of the day, we're looking at ACDC on the daily time frame. So this stock may be starting to break down. We're down currently about 5%. We have mentioned this gap to fill to the downside here at around 27 cents, and now that we got rejected by our 50 SMA, I think our slow bleed will continue and we may find a bottom a little bit even lower than this level. But I think this is a very nice opportunity to be getting into ACDC. If you can snipe this at that 27 cents level, that will be an absolute steal. MACD looks negative, parallel with our signal line. No real signal of a bounce back just yet. RSI still at a cool 38. We could still see some more downside. And so again, expect this gap filled, and then once we fill this gap, we may start to move up. And if you have yet to get into ACDC like myself, I am looking at this level like a vulture right now at 27 cents. Next stock of the day, we're looking at HITI on the 30-minute time frame. You can see a common theme with a lot of our stocks. We have been in certain wedges where we get rejected by our 50 SMA. This was a pretty solid rejection right here. And with HITI, we are still trading within our wedge, so we haven't come up with any other play just yet. We could obviously still break down after this point, but I still like the future outlook for HITI, and any weakness in share price is a buying opportunity in my opinion. And so again, because we are still in this wedge, still nothing to fear with HITI until about April 22nd. At that point, we will get a better sense of direction and a bigger move either up or down for HITI. Next stock of the day, looking at STAF on the daily time frame. So we're currently down about 3% right now, and so we're just sitting right here on support for staffing solutions. These are very intriguing buying points. If we look at our MACD did cross over, although we are still negative, we did have that crossover, so that was extremely bullish in the short term, which had coincided with this crazy buying volume. And so the next move for STAF is to see a couple more green days, which should push our MACD a little bit higher and then give us a stronger trajectory into the positive. And right now I do think this is a pretty cheap price to be buying STAF. Again, we are sitting on support on a longer term uptrend, and so overall right now on STAF could be a very nice play for a swing trade. Next stock of the day, looking at SNDL on the daily time frame, and again, pretty much flat here today. We're down 1%, still bleeding down to the downside. We did get a slight back test yesterday of our 100-day SMA, and we did come back right up. So right now, still no setups to be getting into SNDL. You can see our MACD very negative, parallel with our signal line, so no signs of crossovers yet. We have a RSI of 39, so we still have some more room to the downside. And overall, the picture for SNDL does look quite bleak unless we start to see favorable macroeconomic news to help SNDL. I just want people to remember not to forget about SNDL. The reason why I'm saying that is because this stock has pumped out very high volume in the past, and so if we start to see a crossover here, this is a very intriguing play for myself, because I know once this thing starts to go, it really starts to run. We've already capitalized on SNDL from lows here at around 60-70 cents, and so right now we're waiting to do the same thing. If we start to get signs of any sort of momentum to the upside, we will be back into SNDL and we will try to take that momentum and play it for another swing trade. There you guys have it. That was our quick little update on our explosive penny stock watch list. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like. Also, I am going to leave a free link to my Discord chat in the description if you guys want to join, talk with me in real time, ask questions, whatever it is. We are on the road to 10K subs, so if you made it to this point, feel free to hit that subscription button. This is Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.